Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to the session that's titled Clouds on the Horizon for Travel. My name's Sam Wood and I do the marketing here at Babbel. To kick off, I'd like to introduce you to Matt and Andrew. Guys, I'll let you introduce yourselves and then I've got a couple of questions for you. So, Matt, Andrew.
Hi, I'm Matt Parker. I'm the Chief Exec at Babbel and I sort of lead our connection at exec level with the travel industry and the work that Babbel does in travel.
Andrew Crow. I work with Babbel with a focus on the travel industry. Over 30 years experience in that sector on the product side, on the operator side and on the agent side. Never ever have I ever seen an industry that is about to go through the change that the travel industry is going to go through, and looking forward on this session to creating a little bit more detail around how businesses are able to achieve that, because they say a new norm, a new norm. This is nothing that's ever been experienced or will ever be experienced, and how businesses adapt and change through this and come out the other side is going to be very, very interesting the next 12 months.
Great. So Matt, let's kick off. Let's talk about Babbel for 30 seconds. Give us the elevator pitch and explain why we're so involved as a business in the travel industry.
Cheers, Sam. So Babbel, we are a cloud communications expert, helping organizations spend less money through tech and the efficient use and the effective use of technology, make more money through using tech to have better quality and more profitable conversations and engagement internally and externally, and to secure everything by using cloud-based technology to ensure that businesses are resilient and able to cope when the unforeseen happens. From a travel perspective, the genesis of this was an event that I went to not long after I joined Babbel in 2016. So an event in Sorrento, where sitting through all of the sessions, it sort of became apparent to me that there was a real desire to change the perception of the customer experience. And what that actually looked and felt like, and people were talking about experience on arrival and experience through, and talking and all of that sort of stuff. And it struck me as I spoke to more and more people across the travel industry, across different parts of the travel industry, but at multiple levels in travel, that there was a real desire to reinvent the way engagement was going on. It felt like there was almost a malaise around, well, we're all doing the same thing over and over again, and the definition of madness stuff. And given our curiosity and our passion around customer experiences and customer engagements, and that I could spend the whole of everybody's session today talking about my experiences around talking to contact centres. It struck me that here was an industry that had a personality that felt like ours, that was thinking about the same things as we were thinking about, and perhaps we could help each other. It could help me build our business, but we could help change the dynamic of what of how the travel industry engages internally and externally. Now, clearly, the events of 2020 have put everybody under a huge amount of stress, and no industry more so than the travel industry. But we've seen with the clients that we work with in travel that the resilience and the tech that we've been involved in helping them to deploy has had a real differentiating impact in those businesses over the last, through 2020, and we have continued to invest in the travel industry through this, and events and supporting partners all the way through, on the basis that for us and for me, this was always a long-term plan with goals in 5 years' time. It's not about doing something now and moving on.
Okay. Andrew, in your introduction, you mentioned that you've been in the industry for 30 years, which I'm not sure I believe or not. You said you've never seen anything like this before. So tell us what it's like in the industry at the moment.
It's hard not to say desperate, but it is pretty desperate with travel bans, etc. It just improves at the moment. Incredible challenges. I think what I'd like to say is I just think that the only thing I'd like to say is there's good news. Good news is that there's a technology there. It's easy to adapt, adopt, and integrate into businesses. And secondly, and most importantly, people love to travel. That isn't going to change. And I do believe when we come out of this, which we will, that pent-up demand creates massive opportunity, creates almost a perfect storm and a powerful result for businesses who are proactive and have looked to adapt that technology to come through the other side of it. I think in many cases, a lot of sort of cloud-based solutions and moving to cloud has been within businesses' strategies, but it's probably been more of a medium-term strategy. I think this just pushes it more to the forefront. And the key around all of this is communication. And I think going back, people would go into branches or they would go onto the telephone in order to look to make bookings. That isn't going to happen as we move forward. People are going to want to be able to communicate, customer to operator to agents, etc. And they're going to want to do it through that single pane of glass, and be that a WhatsApp integration, be it Facebook Messenger, be it email, be it telephone, be it the branch. I think that, or I firmly believe that all of those elements of communication have to be opened up. It's got to be created into one window to ensure that the customer knows and understands exactly what they're going to look to buy, purchase, and all the issues around that, all of the new ways of traveling around that. And I think the businesses that look to do that will be the ones that come out winners at the end of this. Okay.
So expanding on that, Matt, you mentioned briefly about the role of technology and how a lot of our messaging is around making sure businesses are ready for anything and how they use technology to make sure and have that business continuity kind of platform. What, in your opinion, expanding on what Andrew just said then, what in your opinion do you think travel companies need to do, need to change, need to focus on to thrive when the expected rebound comes about?
So I think it's difficult for us to be sort of all knowing around this sort of stuff, and I think that telling somebody else who's running a business and is dealing with the level of stress in that business that one can only imagine. I'm not sure I feel qualified to do that. What I can tell you is what I see people thinking about and what I see them focusing on and having an impact. And going back to echo something Andrew's just said about people want to travel and will travel. It's interesting that the two big things that are floating about in the media today are, one, there's a vaccine coming, and two, people aren't going to have to quarantine. The second most important thing is being able to leave the country and come back. And until you said that today, it hadn't dawned on me that how not just pent up demand, but this expectation that we can do of all the things that are being deprived at the moment in terms of the not so much the nice things in life, but the slight luxuries. That's the one that's at the top of the list in terms of how people are feeling. So, for me, what we're seeing is people thinking about resilience, redundancy, and the ability to deal with clients without it feeling to the client that things are being compromised. I think, we're all a little bit bored with, contact centers saying, well, you're going to have to wait a bit longer because of the COVID situation or our colleagues. At the end of the day, the tech is there to allow people to work from remote locations and allow people to have a positive experience. And, if you look at contact centres that all of us speak to in and out of travel. There are good ones who have embraced technology, and there are ones who perhaps haven't really thought that through and are trying to fix things through tech rather than through behaviour. So I think where we are seeing real success in clients thinking about remote working and resilience and stuff like that is around behavioural and attitude stuff, and saying, we're going to find a way of making this work. We're going to make this happen. We're going to change the dynamic. We're going to change the experience, and we're going to focus on the experience. So I would say, behavioural stuff, thinking about, technology is an enabler. And Andrew and I talk about this a lot, that the tech's there. The tech's been there for a long time. Your iPhone and your Android tells you who's calling you when you answer the phone. And they've gone a step beyond having to have somebody in the memory, that it will work it out from listening to a voicemail who it is they think that's calling you. So the technology is there. It's about thinking about behaviour and management and the way that you ask people to do things. So that's number one. Number two is seamless and positive customer experiences. You know what? Things aren't perfect, but I'm going to make this as positive an experience as I can do. And thinking about this idea of, that we've all experienced this situation where, you go into a call center or contact center, they spend the first 5 minutes trying to work out who you are when they should know, because your phone number is a unique identifier. They then spend the next 5 minutes trying to work out what it is you want, letting you tell the story, and then they transfer you to somebody else who starts the whole process again. So think, simple things like thinking about that customer experience, and technology will lend itself to that. And then, the third thing on the back of that for me is the relatively simple idea that, generally speaking, people are positive about what's going on and understand, and bear that in mind when you're asking, staff to use tech to engage with people. Most people, when given an explanation, I think we've all, clearly all crises create a situation where hopefully something positive comes out of it. And for me, one of the positive things that will come out of 2020 is that we're all just a little bit more patient and a little bit more understanding of each other, and trying to bear that in mind when you're using tech to try and drive that customer experience piece.
Okay. So Andrew, you spoke briefly about the consumers. Do you think the kind of way they want to interact with travel businesses has fundamentally changed? Is that permanent, or?
Yeah, and just really to lay on top of Matt's point, because I say we do talk about this a lot between us, is it isn't just the technology, but it's layering that human creativity on top. It isn't turning everything into an algorithm or into a code, but really enhancing that human element. I think that's really key to this, and how you knit this together ultimately will deliver competitive advantage. And that technology with the human creativity will be what drives this forward. And I think that so far, I think the winners in travel, and I think the winners in an awful lot of industries, have been those on a reactive basis. It's been, let's put our people in the house, let's ensure that we can maintain a level of communication with our customers. I think the winners moving forward will be adapting the product with the customer in order then to deliver what the customers wanting, the customers comfortable with. And just to sort of expand on that a little bit, I think there'll be certain products and certain destinations that will be real winners out of that. And I think that certain other products will take longer to come back to the position they were in, or in fact, they may never come back to that position again. I was reading probably about 2 months ago when it was hitting the height that Airbnb's investors had put another 2 billion into that business. Now, there's clearly a product that, post-COVID, you're into villas, you're into B&Bs, you're into self-catering, etc. You've got massive opportunity in those in those areas to be able to be a lot safer. I think destination-wise, there's big opportunities for destinations. I think there's been in maybe the mass market, there's been an awful lot of customers have taken all-inclusive product, never really experienced the destination. They've kind of gone there, spent 7 days, and never left the hotel. So there's a potential that actually more people can share the pie as we move out of that, and then you underpin that with technology. So not only are you just layering your customer to, or your operator to a hotel and maybe an airline, you suddenly start putting restaurants, you putting attractions, you put lots more elements that people can promote. People can, with the use of technology, be able to give to the customer in order then to create their perfect holiday. So I see there's a lot of fundamental changes happening, and those businesses that engage with technology in order to bring all of those in order to deliver to the customer, and then the output to that is how we communicate with our customer. And it's funny, we have lots of conversations, you well know in Babel, is that if you go back to it, we talk about technology, we also talk about culture, and we talk about culture a lot. And if we had a conversation 6-9 months ago, I'll go 9 months, 12 months ago, invariably we would have gone onto that call, and we would have been not on video, but we would have been on audio. It would have been just the natural reaction. The natural reaction now is to move on to onto video. Mm-hmm. And again, by utilizing that, I mean, I do it, young sons at school, teachers have virtual parents' evening. That's all on video. Mm-hmm. Holidays will be booked via Zoom. Yeah, PCI compliancy is in there. So again, not an issue, just an extra bit of technology to be added to the process. But we will be sitting having conversations on Zoom, looking and planning our holiday. Yeah, video can be dropped into those conversations. When you look at the cost, particularly around, nobody pays for any phone calls anymore. Nobody pays for any texts anymore, etc. Video can drop in, etc. So, I think there's going to be quite a major change in the way we book holidays and the type of holidays we take in the future. And those that grasp that, and there's a lot of people out there doing so. I think it's exciting times. And again, as Matt, really to reiterate, Matt says, take quarantine away. That it means I can go on holiday, I can come back safely, and that'll be a big plus to start to move this forward.
So Sam, I'm conscious of time. I think that the one thing from my perspective is I think that there will be winners and losers out of this. Mm-hmm. And I think the winners will win big, and the people who have thought hard about the customer experience, and this idea that we have that the customer experience, the experience of travel doesn't start when you start to travel. It starts when you start to think about traveling. Mm-hmm. And if I give you an outside the travel industry example, I'm looking to buy a car at the moment, and the experience I've had of trying to buy a car has been absolutely horrendous, and nobody's doing anything like this. You're calling dealerships up who've got people, they've got the receptionist in the dealership on the desk that you can't get into the building. They transfer you to a salesperson who might be there, isn't there. There's no suggestion of doing any of this sort of stuff, and it comes to the point where I thought, what, I'm not going to bother. I'll come back to the idea in a couple of months' time, and I may or may not come back to the idea, but I know that I've had a decent experience. So this idea of investing, thinking about the customer experience right at the front of what you're trying to do, and saying, and we did it very early on as a business in lockdown, which was, we're going down Teams, everybody's using a video, everybody's talking to everybody. You don't have a conversation inside Babel unless you can see somebody now. And we didn't lay that down as a rule, we just changed the dynamic. There will be winners, and the winners will be the people that put customer experience and this sort of thing at the centre of that.
Great. So we're completely run out of time, so I'm just going to wrap that up there. So thank you very much, both of you. Thanks and goodbye.
Thanks a lot.